Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to discuss vegetable families, or the taxonomy of some common vegetables typically eaten in America. Some people may use the word families to distinguish things like root vegetables from leaf vegetables, but today we're going to be using the word families in the sense of taxonomy. So taxonomy is the way that scientists categorize plants and other living things based on several different factors. It might be their evolutionary relationships, what they look like, how they behave, what their metabolism is like, things like that. And a lot of scientists still disagree about what exactly belongs in each group and how each group should be defined. But we're going to try and focus on the big picture here. Remember this from high school biology? Plants and animals both fall into the domain of eukaryota, which are organisms with cells that have a true nucleus. The DNA of bacteria more just sort of floats around. And plants are one of the 6 kingdoms, along with animals, fungi, protists, bacteria, and archaea. To complicate things, phylum for plants is typically called division, and more recently scientists use terms like clades rather than class. And things get a bit murky in this area. They're still working a lot of things out. But some of the main distinctions to keep in mind are gymnosperms versus angiosperms, and monocots versus dicots. Gymnosperms literally means naked seeds. These are plants that don't make any flowers. And angiosperms are flowering plants. Monocots are plants that have 1 seed leaf when they first emerge, and dicots have 2. Most of what we eat are angiosperms, or flowering plants. However, if you like pesto, for example, that's made from pine nuts, pine trees being conifers, which are gymnosperms. Monocots and dicots diverge from each other and are distinct branches within the plant kingdom. Monocots tend to have parallel leaf veins. That's one way you can tell them apart. Moving along to orders. There are about 60 orders in the plant kingdom and over 400 families. Today we're going to talk about 15. So we really don't eat a whole lot of different families when it comes to vegetables. For humans, Homo sapiens, our family is the hominids. So it's really just one level up from genus. You'll notice that families tend to end with the suffix -aci, and orders tend to end with -ales. Our first family we're going to talk about are the brassicas, or Brassicaceae. They are also known as the cruciferae, or the coles, and you may have heard these referred to as cruciferous vegetables. That's because the flower of all brassicas has 4 petals, which are shaped like a little cross. Crux being Latin for cross. Most cruciferous veggies in your produce section are actually just one species, Brassica oleracea. Different varieties have been selected for over the generations and include broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, collards, kale, and kohlrabi. Some other notables in the Brassica family include arugula, mustard, radishes, watercress, pennycress, and rocket. The next family is Asteraceae, which is also known as Compositae because it has characteristic composite flowers. These are things like daisies and sunflowers, which are actually composed of many tiny flowers in the disc, called disc flowers, surrounded by the large ray flowers that look like petals. This is one of the largest families in the entire plant kingdom, second only to the orchids. There are many subfamilies and many well-known herbal medicines found here as well. Some notables include lettuce and endive from the chicory family, and also artichoke and burdock root from the thistle family. In the aster subfamily, we find some of our familiar herbal remedies like chamomile, yarrow, and echinacea. This is also where sunflower is, if you like sunflower seeds. Next is another huge family, the legume family, or Fabaceae. If you've ever grown garden peas, you can identify the flowers of this family. All the different plants of this diverse family share this common structure, and they all form pods as well. While the pod is technically the fruit of the plant, we'll go on using the word vegetable in the vernacular sense. Members of this family include small herbs like peas and beans, all the way up to trees like redbuds and black locust. So in the pea subfamily, we have our garden peas, lentils, chickpeas. All the different varieties of beans are in the genus Phaseolus. We have soybeans, black-eyed peas, even licorice and kudzu are in the pea family. and kudzu is actually edible. Also here we have the tamarind as well as trees like mesquite and acacia. Our next family is the carrot family, or Apiaceae. The family includes familiar vegetables like carrots, parsnips, and celery, as well as many herbs and spices like anise, caraway seeds, cumin, fennel, dill, parsley, and cilantro. This family also includes the deadly poison hemlock and water hemlock, which resemble wild carrots, so be careful. Next is Cucurbitae, the gourd family. These are vining plants that include cucumbers, squashes, and melons, which again are technically fruits. Ever notice how they all have a similar structure when you cut them open to get the seeds? Next is the mallow family, or Malvaceae. The root of the European marshmallow plant was originally used to make marshmallows. Sadly, no longer is the case. But familiar plants in this family are hibiscus, hollyhock, and cotton. Chocolate actually comes from the Sterculiaceae subfamily. Here we have okra, cocoa, and durian fruit. The okra flower looks very similar to the flower of the rose of Sharon bush, which is also in the mallow family. Members of the mint family, or Lamiaceae, are a lot of familiar herbs. This family is characterized by plants with square stems and opposite leaves. The coleus is an ornamental plant from the mint family that also has square stems and opposite leaves. Also in this family are herbal remedies like pennyroyal, self-heal, bergamot, and skullcap. But here are the more familiar ones that we use in the kitchen pretty frequently. Next on our list is Solanaceae, the nightshade family, which includes some of our most common foods like tomatoes and potatoes and peppers, as well as some deadly plants like belladonna and jimsonweed, and also the petunia. Sweet potatoes and yams are not related to the potato. Sweet potatoes are actually a member of the morning glory family, which is called Convolvulaceae, and this family is native to the Americas. True yams, or wild yams, are actually a monocot, not related at all to sweet potatoes. This is the first monocot we've talked of so far in this list, and these are vines that are found throughout the world. Another monocot on our list is the lonely Asparagacea, which contains only a few members besides asparagus. Full-grown asparagus has small yellow lily-like flowers and red berries. You may have seen wild asparagus growing on the side of the road. It looks very similar to dill in that it's very delicate. Another popular monocot is Poaceae, the grass family. All of our grains are found here, such as wheat, rice, corn, oats, barley, rye, sorghum, sugarcane, lemongrass, and also bamboo. The amaranth family contains, of course, amaranth and quinoa, but quinoa is not a grass, it's not a grain. It's actually what's known as a pseudo-cereal, because the seeds can be ground into a flour, but it's technically not a grass. The goosefoot or Chenopodium subfamily contains both beets and chard, both cultivated from the same species of Beta vulgaris. The knotweed family, or Polygonaceae, also contains a pseudo-cereal, which is buckwheat, which makes for fantastic pancakes. We also saw chia earlier in the mint family, which is yet another example of a pseudo-cereal. But back to the monocots. The last important monocot on our list is Amaryllidaceae, the amaryllis family. Not only does this family give you flowers at Christmas, as well as daffodils in the spring, but it contains the onion subfamily, Alioideae. Onions, garlic, chives, and leeks are all species of the genus Allium, which are monocots. So we've covered 15 of the over 400 plant families. So to summarize, we've got 11 families that are dicots. We've got our mustard family with all our cole vegetables. We've got the sunflower family, which has got lettuce and some medicinal herbs. The legume family has all kinds of peas and beans. Carrot family, parsley, other herbs, as well as carrots and parsnips and celery. The gourd family, all kinds of gourds, squash, pumpkins, melons, cucumbers. Mallow family has okra. Mint family contains so many herbs. the nightshade family, tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, eggplant. The morning glory has sweet potatoes. Amaranth has quinoa and beets and spinach. And the knotweed family has buckwheat. The monocots we talked about were wild yams, asparagus, all kinds of grains, and the onion subfamily of the amaryllis family. Thanks for watching.